What if that eruption of anger, that flash of heat that hijacks your reason, could be calmed in an instant? What if there was a mental switch, known to the wisest minds of the ancient world, that could let you sidestep the explosion before it even truly begins? This isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about understanding and redirecting its power. We've all felt it, haven't we? That sudden surge of frustration when someone cuts you off in traffic, the simmering resentment from an unfair comment, the blinding rage when things just don't go our way. Anger, in its raw form, feels primal, sometimes even justified. Yet how often does it really serve us? The ancient Stoic philosophers, true masters of the human psyche, they recognized anger as a temporary madness. Seneca, a key Stoic thinker, vividly described how anger clouds judgment and leads to irrational, often regrettable actions. He knew that anger rarely solves the problem at hand. More often than not, it just creates new ones. Strained relationships, lost opportunities, and a deep sense of inner turmoil. We lose our cool, say things we don't mean, and act in ways that are beneath our better selves. The cost of uncontrolled anger, it's steep. It chips away at our peace and composure, leaving us feeling more like a slave to our emotions than the master of our own minds. But what if there was a way to interrupt this destructive cycle? The Stoics didn't believe in a life empty of feeling, but in a life where reason guides our response to those feelings. They developed practical strategies, not for some perfect utopian world, but for the messy, unpredictable reality of our daily lives. Their aim was tranquility, what they called ataraxia, a state of serene calm. And this calm wasn't born from avoiding life's difficulties, but from navigating them with wisdom and self-control. The trick we're about to explore is a cornerstone of this philosophy. It's a simple yet profoundly effective mental tool to reclaim your composure precisely when you feel it slipping away. So what is this ancient trick? It isn't some mystical incantation. It's a conscious, two-part mental shift. It all begins with what we can call the sacred pause. When you feel that initial spark of anger, that tightening in your chest, that rush of heat, just pause, deliberately. Seneca strongly advised rejecting that very first impulse to anger. Create a momentary space between the trigger and your response. This isn't about suppressing the feeling, but about not letting it immediately dictate your actions. Think of it as stepping back from the edge of a cliff. In that pause, however brief, you create an opening for reason to re-enter the scene. Anger, as Seneca noted, gains momentum rapidly if it goes unchecked. The pause is your circuit breaker. Now, in that space you've created, you engage the second part, the judgment reframe. The Stoics, especially thinkers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, taught that it's not external events themselves that cause us distress, but our judgments about those events. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The event itself, it's neutral. Your internal judgment, they did that to disrespect me. They're an idiot. This is an outrage. That's what fuels the anger. So, during your pause, consciously question that initial judgment. Ask yourself, is this interpretation the only possible one? Is it definitively true? Is my anger really about this specific event, or is it perhaps rooted in something deeper? Marcus Aurelius would often remind himself to consider the other person's character as a whole, not just the one action that offended him. Maybe the driver who cut you off made an honest mistake. Perhaps they're rushing to an emergency, or they're simply having a terrible day. much like you've probably had your own. Seneca even suggested seeing a bit of yourself in the offender, recognizing your own fallibility. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, of course, but it shifts your internal narrative from "this is a personal attack" to "this is an impersonal circumstance," or just common human error. Is the situation truly a catastrophe, or is it merely an inconvenience? By challenging those automatic, often overly negative judgments, you drain the anger of its fuel. You're not denying the event happened. You're consciously choosing a more rational, less emotionally charged interpretation. Why is this mental shift so powerful? Because it addresses anger at its very root. The pause gives your prefrontal cortex, the seat of reason in your brain, a chance to catch up with the amygdala, your brain's emotional alarm system. Then the judgment reframe alters the very meaning you assign to the event. It transforms it from a personal affront into something manageable, understandable, or maybe even irrelevant to your inner peace. Let's make it practical. Imagine your boss criticizes your work, and their tone is harsh. Your initial reaction might be, "He's attacking me. He thinks I'm incompetent. This is unfair." And boom, anger flares. But then, you apply the sacred pause. Breathe. Don't respond immediately. Next, apply the judgment reframe. Is he really attacking me? Or is he just stressed about a deadline and expressing it poorly? Is there any truth in the feedback, even if the delivery was flawed? What can I actually control here? See? The anger doesn't just vanish, but its explosive power is diffused. You can now choose a response that's constructive rather than destructive. So, the next time you feel that familiar heat of anger starting to rise, I invite you to try this ancient trick. Embrace the sacred pause. Question your initial judgments. Just see what happens. It's a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. What are your biggest anger triggers, and how do you think this Stoic approach might change your response? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this insight resonates with you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more practical wisdom to help you navigate the complexities of life. Anger is a powerful force, there's no doubt, but it doesn't have to control you. With this simple mental shift, a gift from the Stoic philosophers, you have a timeless tool to instantly diffuse its destructive power. You have the capacity, right now, to choose reason over rage, composure over chaos. That power is, and always has been, within your mind.